So at the beginning of the story, we are shown a king named Dan Stevens who used to have big parties with all his royal subjects. One night, an old beggar woman came to his palace and gave the prince along with his subjects mocked and laughed at the old woman, even as she warned him not to be deceived by appearances. The prince turned her away once again, and after a while the old woman's surrogate became a sorceress. The prince tried to apologize, but the sorceress had already seen that there was no love in his heart. As punishment, she transformed the prince into a hideous beast and the subjects into household objects. The sorceress, due to a spell, people outside the kingdom forgot the castle and everyone who lived in it. The prince was left with a magic mirror as a window to the outside world, as well as a rose if the prince fell in love with someone else before the last petal fell. If he wins, then the spell will be broken, otherwise he will turn into a beast forever. Many years later in Villain Way, there lives a girl named Belle Emma. She does not get along at all with the rest of the town, who all consider her strange. Belle is interested in storybooks. She arrives in town with her henchman Left Josh Gad, and he sees Belle as she leaves the bookstore. Gaston attempts to invite her to dinner, but she turns him down. Belle returns home to her father Morris Kevin Klein, who is a music box maker. He is in the process of building a music box modeled after himself and his late wife, who is also Belle's mother. How does a moment last forever? Belle tells Morris. That's how she notices that the villagers think she's strange, which Morris rejects. Morris is about to go to another town to sell his music boxes, and Belle asks him to bring her roses as usual. Morris comes through the woods with his horse Philip. He turns onto a road where it is snowing. A pack of wolves meets Morris, forcing him and Philip to flee. They pass through a gate that takes them to the forgotten grounds of the prince's castle. Morris enters the castle and is spotted by the mantel clock. Morris walks into the hall and sits down. He is shocked when Chip Nathan Mack, a little boy who turns into a teacup, walks towards him. Morris runs out of the castle and starts walking away until he passes by the garden and sees a rose. He tries to pick a rose for Belle but finds the beast, which Morris the beast calls her a thief and takes her captive to Belle's prize. A few moments later, Philip returns and Belle knows that something bad must have happened to her. Belle takes Philip back to the castle. She finds Morris in the dungeon, where Belle then meets the beast and is stunned by his appearance. The beast says that Morris is a thief and will have to live in a dungeon for the rest of his life. Despite Morris' objections, Belle offers to take his place. The beast agrees to this exchange and he lets Morris go. Belle promises him that she will find a way out. Belle meets Lumiere and Coxworth, although she is initially nervous about them. Lumiere was a castle servant and Coxworth was the castle's major domo before the curse turned them into a candelabra and a mantel clock. Belle also meets Mrs. Potts Emma Thompson, who is Chip's mother and kitchen hostess, who is now a teacup knocker. Knocks loudly on the door. Lumiere, Cogsworth, Mrs. Potts, and Plumage all stand behind her and try to help, but Belle refuses to join in with the beast as she is still making her rope. The beast goes into a rage and insults his servants. We see another petal fall from the rose, and as a result, the castle begins to shake and break slightly. This makes the objects in the castle even less human. Belle leaves her room and joins in with the castle's subjects as they lead her to the dining hall. Lumiere leads the subjects in a spectacular musical number, Be Our Guest, as they boast about their fine meal. Belle then wanders into the west wing that Lumiere and Coxworth had so poorly tried to hide from her. There Belle finds a rose in a jar. The beast then scares her and yells at her to get out. Belle runs away. Belle goes and takes Philip out of the castle grounds. Then she is attacked by wolves in the forest. Belle tries to fight them off until the beast arrives and fights them herself. The alpha wolf bites her on the back, but the beast throws him and roars, scaring away the wolves, causing him to get badly injured and fall. Then Belle helps the beast onto Philip. Belle caresses the beast's wound while he complains about the pain. A friendship sparks between them. She lets him rest. Mrs. Potts explains to Belle that the beast was not always so cruel. Since they have known him all their lives, they know that the prince was cursed by his father after his mother died. When Belle asks about the rose, the objects say that if the last petal falls, the prince will remain a beast forever and will never find anyone to love him, and they will become lifeless. We see that the young prince sees his mother on her deathbed before his father drags her away. Maurice takes Gaston and Lefaux into the forest where they try to find their way to the castle. Gaston and Lefaux think that Maurice is crazy. When Gaston reveals to Belle his true intentions of helping Maurice, she even growls at Maurice and threatens to throw him to the wolves. Gaston tries to hide this by pretending to be a good man and tied to a tree so the wolf can come after him. Lefaux finds this too much, but he has no choice and must pursue Gaston. Belle is reading Shakespeare to the beast, who already knows the story by heart. Then he takes Belle to show him his vast library, which he says can now be his. Over time, Belle becomes attracted to the beast as he shows his kinder and more gentle side and also objects to it. Later, the beast shows Belle a magical book that allows anyone to go anywhere if they can imagine it. Belle puts her hand in it and takes them to an old house in Paris. This was once the home of Maurice and his wife when Belle was a child. The beast finds a doctor's mask indicating that Belle's mother died of the plague. A flashback shows Maurice watching Jalen Coy care for his wife. Shown as she is dying, she asks him to protect Belle Daisy Maxwell, and all that is left behind is a glass rose which Belle finds. Maurice is saved by a local beggar woman named Agathe. Maurice returns to Villeneuve and is sitting in the inn when Gaston and Lefaux return to find him. Both are shocked. Maurice tells the villagers that Gaston left him to die in the forest when the beast calls Lefaux as a witness, Gaston scolds Lefaux for lying to cover his back. Gaston dismisses Maurice as a delusional lunatic. The beast invites Belle to dance with him in the ballroom. Kia drab dresses Belle in a beautiful gown while Lumiere and the others try to properly dress the beast. Then the two meet on the stairs and go into the ballroom, while the cadenza plays a tune with them, Beauty and the Beast. Belle and the beast. They do a romantic dance. Later, the beast asks Belle if she can be happy there, but she asks if anyone can be happy if they are not free. He knows that she misses her father and he wants her. Belle sees the villagers harassing Maurice and she knows he is in trouble. The beast frees Belle so she can go help Maurice. When Belle leaves, the beast leaves in despair. Climbs the tower even though he now knows that he truly loves her ever more. The castle's subjects become saddened as they realize that Belle does not love him. In exchange for breaking the curse, Gaston sends Maurice to a psychic. Maurice is admitted to the institute, which is managed by Monsieur Dark, but gives him another chance to redeem himself if he gives Gaston his blessing to marry Belle. Maurice still refuses, so Gaston sends him away. Belle arrives just in time to stop the carriage from running away. She shows the villagers the mirror to prove the beast's existence, scaring everyone. Gaston changes his tune and goes to the village to go after the beast. Mob song. Gaston then leads the villagers to attack the castle while Belle gets locked in the carriage with Maurice. The castle objects. She sees the villagers moving towards the castle. They try to keep the door closed, but the villagers start breaking it down. Cogsworth goes to warn the beast, who is so depressed that he doesn't care about what's happening. Lumiere then manipulates all the objects in the castle to come up with a plan. As the villagers enter, Lefaux sees Mrs. Potts and Chip, who mistakes Mrs. Potts for his grandmother. She is not happy and she starts a fight. Lumiere lights the floor. Mrs. Potts pours hot tea on the attackers. Meanwhile, Agatha is seen going up the stairs. Then the villagers run away in fear. Gaston goes to the tower and finds the beast sitting sadly outside the window. He claims Gaston goes after him and wants the beast to fight back. Belle then returns to the castle to retrieve the beast's soul. He defends himself against Gaston and declares that he is not a beast. He catches Gaston on a ledge while the coward begs for mercy but spares his life and orders him to leave. Leaps to the next tower to be with Belle, but Gaston shoots him twice in the back. Moments later, Karma then goes after Gaston as the bridge he is standing on collapses and he falls to his death. The prince is gravely injured, but he has enough time to see Belle before he dies. Then the last petal falls the palace objects to celebrate their victory over the villagers, but a simple feather lands in Plum Lou's arms. Mrs. Potts frantically searches for Chip as she becomes a regular shadow nurse. Chip arrives soon after and almost falls but is caught by the coat hanger, and they both end up in the wardrobe and lifeless along with her husband and pet dog. Lumiere and Cogsworth express their mutual friendship before they too are rendered lifeless. Belle cries for the prince and tells him she loves him. Agatha enters the room as Belle says this. Turns out Agatha was the witch in disguise, and she returns the rose to its original form, thus breaking the spell. Then the prince returns to his human form, then he and Belle kiss each other, then the darkness in the kingdom disappears. It happens and everything becomes normal, and the story ends here.